Hello, everybody, and welcome to the comic panel. I'm Taylon.
And I'm Shawenta.
And today, for those who are... So, this is half of the crew today. Jake and Cody were unfortunately unable to make it. And so, you have me and Shawenta here. For those who are listening for the first time, we are a bi-weekly radio show / podcast comic book club covering any and everything regarding comics and manga. We have each co-host pick a book that follows a specific theme, and we review a book for each episode. Then we wrap up the theme with a retrospective episode covering our opinions and our favorite moments from each of the books. And this episode just so happens to be our retrospective episode. And so this is the retrospective for the theme of Continuations. So we've been following that for the past 4 episodes. And in this theme, we read The Magic Order, Volume 2 by writer Mark Millar, Something is Killing the Children, Volume 2 by writer James Tynion IV, Invincible, Volume 3 by writer Robert Kirkman, and The Department of Truth, Volume 2 by writer James Tynion IV. And
yeah, so it's probably pretty obvious what the theme of Continuations is. We read the second portion of stuff that we previously read the first.
Yes. So, or we continued from where we were last.
Yeah, not necessarily the second volume, but it did end up being mostly that.
Yeah. And so first, we'll give a summary of each book, starting with The Magic Order by writer Mark Millar. Shawenta, you chose this book. Mind giving us a summary?
But yeah, in the first section that we actually read, which was Volume 1, we were introduced to the Magic Order, an organization of wizards that are like a mafia family. And they try to keep magic from ending the world.
Yes.
So in the section that we originally read, there was a big bad who was shunned by the Magic Order, and then the real big bad turned out to be within the family, someone who had supposedly stepped away from power, but then ended up killing the head of the family.
Mm-hmm. Oof. Yeah, that power was a little sweet. Couldn't stay away.
Erupts. Volume 2 is what we read for this time, and it introduced us to new wizards who were outside the scope of the Magic Order, but had they wanted a taste of vengeance, I guess.
Yeah.
For like 1,000 years ago, someone in their family was defeated by the Magic Order family that's currently in charge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So the villain Victor Korn wants to restore the Earth to the way it was when his ancestor was in power, like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, very vague.
The usual, like the darkness that he wants to bring back, the monsters that could walk the Earth.
Yeah, and
so he wants to call upon the demon Othuluendu, which originally gave his ancestor the powers. And they're doing everything they can to summon the demon with the pieces of artifact that have been hidden by the Magic Order. And, the Magic Order had to step in and once again defeat them. Mm-hmm. But at an unprecedented scale.
Yeah.
And, I picked it... It's so funny to always say this, but, I didn't like the Magic Order. Mm-hmm. And I so badly wanted to see what the hype was about, and that's why I originally chose it. And it was such a weird story in that it really felt like it was something that should have started way before the first volume in the timeline of the events of the world. I don't know. Does that explain it properly?
It felt like we started a little late.
I know that they tell writers to do this, but you are kind of thrust into the story at a part where I feel like you should have more established, You want to feel more established with the characters, but I don't. So a lot of the story feels unearned, and that's just volume 1. I was like, what? Where are they gonna go from there with volume 2? So I guess it worked on me though, all the same.
They worked their magic.
And once again, I had opinions about volume 2.
Most were negative from what I remember.
We'll find out.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you already listened to the episode, so.
Yeah. I feel like I explained it pretty well in that episode.
Yeah. Yep. And the next book that we read was Something is Killing the Children, Volume 2 by writer James Tynion IV. So in the previous volume, we're introduced to two of the main characters, James and Erica. James witnessed his friends being killed by some kind of monster, and Erica is a mysterious woman who shows up into town after an investigation was made into James' friends and what happened that night. And she rolls into town and she's there to hunt the monster. We find out later that she's a member of the House of Slaughter, which is an organization dedicated to, dealing with monsters. The monster of the last volume was known as an Oscura type, something like that.
Yeah.
This monster was killed, but it turns out it was a mother and it gave birth. And so this volume begins with those child Oscura types running amok, trying to find food, aka children, which is not food, bad monsters. So yeah. Anyway, James is in the hospital for the injuries he sustained after he and Erica confronted the Mother Oscura type. The news of the monsters killing children had reached the public during this time, so throughout the events of the first volume. And so in this volume, the House of Slaughter sent Erica's superior to clean up her mess. And he tries to get her to leave town, leave the case, and let him cover it up. But she is not having it. She is committed to finishing what she started before any more children die. And so that's the book. Cody chose that book because he remembered really enjoying it during the first volume and wanting to see how the story continued, but just never got around to it. And he also considered reading Jake's choice, which is the Department of Truth. But ultimately, he went with this book.
Yeah. And the third book we read was Invincible, Volume 3 by Robert Kirkman as the writer.
Yep.
And so we read a little bit more of this book originally, or this series originally. The first 2 volumes, we were introduced to Nolan and Mark Grayson. Nolan is the superhero Omni-Man, and his son, Mark Grayson, is kind of main character. And he becomes the superhero Invincible once his powers are revealed pretty quickly within the story. Mm-hmm. And so Omni-Man, as Mark Grayson's father, is kind of the Superman of this world. Mm-hmm. He's super powerful. And so the big twist in Volume 2 is him killing off a huge superhero team, the Guardians of the Globe. Yep. And so we continued on with that story in Volume 3, how Nolan, as Omni-Man, clearly wants to tell his son something. Like, nobody knows that he killed the Guardians of the Globe yet. They're at the funeral and so forth. But Nolan can't quite work up the courage to reveal the truth to his son. Because we still don't know, is he just evil? Or why he did it? And we also see the 2 villains, the Mauler twins, revive one of the members of the Guardians of the Globe, known as the Immortal, which, if he's the Immortal, why didn't he just revive on his own? But the moment the Immortal is revived, he flies off to beat his murderer.
Yeah.
Omni-Man. And of course, Omni-Man is much more powerful than him and kills him again. But when that happens, Mark is there as Invincible and sees it.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, yeah. The big reveal being that Nolan finally tells that he came to this Earth not to be a protector, but his race of people, the planet he's from, what's it, Viltrumites?
Yeah. Or Viltrum is the planet.
Viltrum. And the Viltrumites, the people who live there, their job is to force the Earth to submit to Viltrumite rule. They go around, conquering different planets. And Mark refuses to go along with his dad's plan. He chooses to fight him. This is one of the strongest superheroes on Earth. And the volume ends with Omni-Man beating up his son into a bloody pulp, but stopping at the last moment, the finishing blow, and flying away, leaving Mark and his mom behind. And we see a little bit of the aftermath as everybody's kind of revealed to Omni-Man's true intentions towards Earth. And even though it's separated from his secret identity, Mark and his mom have to deal with, they did lose, the father figure of the family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh. I chose this book. I guess I should have done the summary. I didn't think about
that.
Wondering why. Well, I chose this book because I had recently finished the second part of season 2 of the Invincible series, and I loved it. And so I was like, I remember that I didn't like the first 2 volumes of Invincible, but I was like, I'll give it another shot. And so,
yeah.
And then our final book is The Department of Truth, Volume 2, and Jake chose it. And given a summary, in the first volume, we're introduced to Department of Truth, a secret government agency tasked with ensuring the correct things are believed by the masses and the wrong things are believed as nothing more than conspiracy theories. In this world, truth is literally malleable. If enough people believe something, it becomes the truth. And so there is a power struggle between who is going to allow, or how are we going to...
How do you influence the population to believe what you want them to believe?
Exactly.
Things that keep the world safe enough.
Yep.
Compared to, ending it.
Yeah. The main character of this series is a man named Cole Turner, whose job is to investigate conspiracy theories. One such investigation led him to the literal end of the world, which was something that the conspiracy theorists who believe in flat Earth, they only could have imagined that. That's part
Enough
of their...
people believed in flat Earth that there became an ice wall at the end of the world.
Yep. And so when this happens, the Department of Truth swoops in, saves him, and inducts him into their organization. And so in Volume 2, Cole is assigned to be under the tutelage of an agent of the department, Hawk Harrison. He's an old-timer and has been a long-standing member of the department. And as a result of his many years of service, he is quite crass and jaded and, just not PC. But he claims...
Well, to be fair, we see flashbacks when he's younger, in quotation marks, and he seems to be the same way.
Yeah, oh, fair. Fair.
He's very gleeful about his disruptions.
That's a nice way of putting it. But he claims to understand the world in a way that no one else does. That magic exists. Now, while this is not somebody that Cole would choose to be around with, he decides to learn from what Hawk is saying. And during their time together, Hawk takes him on a journey through the origin of the Department of Truth and their history and the things that he himself has done. Things like Vietnam, the Satanic Panic, and dispatching tulpas. Tulpas are, theories or ideas that enough people believe of, and that come to life. So like some kind of monster can be a tulpa, or in this volume it was Bigfoot. Their adventure ends with Cole shooting him in the arm and getting closer to figuring out just what kind of people Black Hat are. Now, in the last volume, we're introduced to Black Hat from, I can't remember his name right now, but the leader of Black Hat shows up and tells him, tries to induct him into the organization, but Cole is like, nah, I don't believe you guys. Because he's trying to, the Black Hat is trying to convince him, we are just trying to fight for the truth. We're trying to let the truth be known. And Cole's like, no, don't believe you.
That's what both sides are saying.
Yeah. And so this volume 2 ends with Hawk leaving Cole with one final thought. Perhaps Lee Harvey Oswald is, the guy who's running the Department of Truth. Maybe he's a tulpa. One of the many things the department is dedicated to stopping. You can imagine that. Dun dun dun. But yeah. So now that we're done summarizing, let's get into the best and the worst. So, Sorrento, what are some standout moments from these books that you enjoyed?
Oh, that I enjoyed?
Yes.
I was ready for the negative part. Invincible continued to be fairly interesting. To the point where I read more of it afterwards.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I just really think like some of the emotional points of Invincible are really cool. It's a fun deconstruction of superheroes in some ways. We talked a lot about it in the episode, but I think focusing on grounding it with like Mark's mom's reaction, she's just a person. She's just a person stuck in this situation who is like married to one of the most powerful superheroes in the world, really believed and trusted in them, and it was entirely a lie.
Yeah.
And having to deal with that is crazy. And we get a sense of like the impact it has on their world, the before after. I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's fair.
I like to give I want to say also to give the Magic Order a little bit of props. As compared to
as much as you don't like doing that.
In the previous section, the previous volume of the Magic Order, there's like a certain structure to the Magic Order we get a sense of, and I do think that the second volume kind of elaborates on that and how they interact with each other. We see a few moments of them being kind of what their day-to-day life is like around each other. I wouldn't say it's particularly well done, but they do it, in my opinion.
That's fair. I did think that the idea that they were there to protect the Earth, I didn't get that from the first volume. But then they just say it in the second volume. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They deal with some crazy stuff in volume 2.
Yeah.
How is the Earth not dead every single day?
The Magic Order is there to provide order. Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Magic Order very thoroughly. So I'd say that was probably the standout.
What are some standout moments from it for you, though?
So, like, the first thing that comes to mind is the fake out with Francis's hanging. So,
yes.
Yes. So everyone in the episode was like, that was so dumb. But I was like, no, that got me. Because I was like, there is no way he just hung himself. There is no way.
Talon, the problem with that episode is that like none of the characters see that. It's just for the audience too.
I don't remember if that's what we were. I don't know if that's what you guys were having an issue with.
I don't even remember if that's like what it was, but I remember. This is what I remember. I remember it being that he hung himself to like, or it wasn't even he hung himself. Oh God, I'm remembering now. He hung his evil demon in his house.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just weird. It's only used as a fake out to the person reading it to be like, oh my God. And then he just shows up. Like, none of his friends or family went to his house and was like, oh my God, I can't look at it. It must be Francis.
Yeah.
Like, there's no actual impact beyond it being like, yeah, I've literally killed my demons.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Get this guy out of here.
I don't know. You're writing for an audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see a problem.
Sometimes you just have to fake it out.
Yeah. To really move on. Fake it till you make it, right?
I just want to say the idea of faking out self-harm to your audience. Not my favorite. It was a standout moment from the book.
Yes.
For sure.
And so, yeah, that got me because I was like, when he came back, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, thank goodness.
I was like, he's too self-interested, he'd never do that. Which, perhaps that says something about me.
That you're self-interested?
That I see the world as narcissists.
Oh, okay.
Alright, well, okay, along a similar vein with Invincible, I do think that something is killing the children. I think it was pretty good some of the ways they went through how normal people would see a monster attack as of that scale. So many kids are being killed, and when they're finally found, the police have to set up in at the gym auditorium or something.
Yeah.
Identifying the bodies. It's pretty realistic and sad, that part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair.
And I think that was a good way of really showing how dire it can be from a regular person's perspective.
Gotcha.
It felt layered, There's the side they see versus the side the other group sees. The people who know the monsters are there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like that. Well, as another point of evidence, we see there's a scene where I believe his name is Tommy. So Tommy is one of those people that just happened to have followed Erica and James into the cave, and Erica needed him to see the monster. And so she kind of stabs him with some serum or something like that makes him able to see the monster. And so now that he can see the monsters, we get that scene where they're in the forest, and a couple of people who are related to one of the children who died see that Tommy's there. They go into the forest to find the monster or find their brother. And Tommy runs up and is like, you guys need to leave, let's go. And the monsters come from that point. And so seeing that kind of what are you talking about? Where is it? Or someone getting, pulled away. And it's
yeah, it's such a big danger to regular people.
Yeah.
I kind of get what you mean. The world building of not even being able to see the monster unless the special circumstances are met.
Yeah. Yeah. I also found the scene where it's they're trying their hardest to keep these monsters from reaching, because at this point in the story, it's a little bit later, all the parents and the siblings of the children who have died. They're all standing outside the gymnasium waiting to be let in. And it's essentially just a buffet for these children of stereotypes. And so Erica and is just trying her best to keep these monsters from reaching those group of people. But they fail. And you see a scene where this little girl is lifted up and like split in half. And that was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was like one of the best parts of the book as far as like feeling the emotions you're supposed to feel. Like, the emotional impact of that was like, I felt like the people there. That was like, how do you fight against this? How do you comprehend what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
On the other hand, with some of the stories, I will say I didn't finish the Department of Truth.
Wow.
And I don't think the Department of Truth helped in that aspect. With its long exposition pages of they're not even exposition. They're just like telling you what's going on.
You mean like
the diary entries?
Oh yeah. They were rough.
I don't read comics so that I can read like the notes that they're left behind in video games for environmental storytelling.
Wait, you read those?
No, that's the point.
Fair. Yeah, I did read it, and it was tough to get through.
I read a lot of it. I just, at some point, my brain shut down. I was like, I get it. Bigfoot scary. Bigfoot make your family fall apart. Bigfoot cause divorce.
Yeah. But you missed the ending, which, at least for me, was kind of impactful. Because
I think they got into the woods or something.
Well, I mean specifically about the end of the letter.
Okay.
But yes, you did go into...
I got to the end of one of the issues, and then I got to the next issue. I'm like, what do you mean there's more?
That was something that was mentioned in the episode. Was like, I thought it was the end.
You can't keep doing this to me.
No, but the end of the letter, like, so he writes like, I don't want to live in a world where magic isn't possible. And so that just kind of hits me of like, man, this search wasn't for him, was not just like he's obsessed with this creature and like he just wants to be proven right. It was like my life would have amounted to nothing if I wasn't. You know, like,
oh yeah, I think I got to that part.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you get in those letters, it's not about finding Bigfoot. It's about what his dad died doing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's about his family, and his whole identity is built on it at this point.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah. Yep.
I like the character of Hawk. Of course. Very fun. In the dumbest ways.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love a little Chaos Goblin?
You know, I can probably say me. I was like...
You didn't like Hawk?
I guess I didn't like him. I didn't dislike him either, you know what I mean?
He's not a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he is very funny, like, to show up and just mess things up. I always find characters like that kind of interesting. If they have characters to contrast them, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. I think I do appreciate Hawk being, yes, a part of the Department of Truth, but not quite going along with the way they want to do things.
I love that he's just like, I can do magic.
Mm-hmm. I figured it out.
Get me.
Yeah. I was thinking about the Department of Truth. I really enjoyed the twist at the end where it was, oh, actually, I work for Black Hat, but I don't trust them either. I guess it was two twists, but and then just like maybe Lee Harvey Oswald is a Topa. I'm like, what?
It's an interesting concept. Like,
Yeah.
in a world where if you believe in something enough, it can become real. At what point is anything normal?
Right. Yeah. So, now that we've talked about what we enjoyed and what worked, what are some standout moments that you thoroughly disliked?
We started that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, we've discussed that with Department of Truth.
Didn't.
Something is killing the children. I mean, you know what part I'm gonna say I think is dumb. Right?
Nope.
Erica's superior dying.
Oh yeah.
In the
Yeah.
matter of like a page after he gets into battle for the first time with the monsters.
Yeah, that's fair.
You build up this character through this entire volume of like being the opposite of Erica in some ways. You can see where he could kind of be turned to the good side. I don't know, whatever that means. He can kind of be made to question his beliefs. You know, he's trying to stand up for the House of Slaughter. He's trying to follow the rules. Why not wound him and have him question himself and his beliefs even more? We just kill him. And I suspect it's to be like, oh my gosh, the monsters are out of control. How will we ever defeat them? Kills character we spend a lot of time establishing.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, so to me, I don't know if I don't think I thought this at the time, but they also mentioned the fact, or at least Erica criticizes her superior because she says, like, you haven't been here. You haven't been out in the field. Like, don't even try to get in the fight, or else you're just gonna, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And so, like, at the same, it's like she kind of did warn him, you know.
Then just wound him really bad. Take one of his arms. Do something. Change the character in some way and make them go, oh my gosh, this is true. And then what do they do to deal with this truth that's like changing is it's kind of messing with their entire belief system. It's just such a waste, I think. And I'm thinking about the other characters in the story, characters who I'm not sure if they're just going to be stuck to this location or if they're going to continue along with Erica if she moves beyond this monster situation. If she takes care of the monsters and she leaves, is she going to bring any of the other characters that have been established with her?
Right.
Probably not. I don't know. They might end up being like, oh, you've changed too much for this small town.
Right.
You'll learn with Erica. But so that's like, it feels like, this character, I'm forgetting his name, of course, Erica's superior, he felt like a character who could have stuck around for a lot longer and been interesting. Yeah. Like, maybe he claims he changes his belief system, but he goes back to the House of Slaughter and is immediately like, nah, I'm with them still, even after losing my arm or something. I'm sorry, there's just so much potential with that, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very disappointing to me. It feels like a quick, short-term stakes riser.
What?
Raising the stakes.
Oh, I've never heard that term before.
You've never heard of raising the stakes? I've used it before.
Well, I've heard that, but...
Okay.
Oh,
I did use it in the other way.
You said stakes riser. Oh, okay. I misheard you. I was like...
Short-term way of raising the stakes. That's what I meant to say.
Gotcha. Fair. So, like, that was at the end. Like, that's what ended the volume.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I was just like, wow, this seems really abrupt.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll get to the next volume and he's just alive and fine.
That's true.
Or changed forever in some weird way.
He becomes an Oscura type.
I don't need more of the same monster.
Yeah, fair.
I just feel like, I think the Magic Order and Something is Killing the Children kind of have the same problem to me as far as magic organizations. They they're so busy making them big and mysterious and kind of cool that they kind of fail to define them in some ways. I think the magic in the magic order, that always gets me. Like anything can happen at any moment because there's no rules. They're like, giant ballerina has now arrived. I'm like, okay. There's no precursor to this. There's no like, they love using giant ballerinas in battle. It's a little too limitless for me. And then with the something is killing the children, as I've always felt about the House of Slaughter, they just wear cool bandanas and then maybe fight monsters with swords, melee weapons. I don't know. They're doing something, that's for sure. They're not doing it well.
So, what do you think? Because the House of Slaughter and the Magic Order, they feel very similar, or at least the idea of it is similar to the Department of Truth, where it's a secret organization that does a bunch of stuff. You know, where do you think the Department of Truth might have done it better?
Well, some of the benefits of the Department of Truth is that they're using real world kind of examples. There's a lot of history stuff. They're like, this history thing, and some readers will know more about that history thing. And they're playing with the facts and the ideas of these established concepts in our world.
Yeah. There's a lot that they don't have to necessarily do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Versus, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about.
Yep.
Yeah, because
any particularly bad moments for you, Talon?
I think one of the worst things was like the Department of Truth, because like on one hand I get the concept of this is conspiracy theories, versus truth, like what's real and what's not. But then they just like use like Christian imagery in it, and I'm just like, I don't like the fact that you're not, but you kind of are, accusing Christianity of being fake. And I'm just
I
like,
get the sense, I get what you're saying. I don't know if I saw that much of it, but I probably wasn't looking for it. I was too busy distracted by how much I'm not scared of Bigfoot. Bigfoot, so scary. I guess if you go in the woods, Bigfoot, big scary. I do get the sense that the Department of Truth they're probably trying to find larger, groups that have large amounts of power in our real world, and they're trying to pervert it in some way for this series of stories. If they're in charge, then they're probably, something crazy is going on behind scenes there.
Gotcha.
But I get what you mean. It's kind of like cheap sometimes when it's like, who else are we going to do? We're in the Western world. Christianity.
Right. Yeah.
What are you up to?
Right. So, yeah.
I don't know.
Was there anything...
We kind of haven't criticized Invincible at all.
Yeah, because to me, it's like Invincible kind of was just like, I did not have nearly as strong negative feelings about it as I did the first two volumes.
I will say it kind of just did more of what it was supposed to do. It continued the story.
Yeah. And I'm sure it didn't help that I had already seen 2 seasons of the show. Man, I can't imagine. I wonder how many volumes we would have needed to have read to get past season 2. I feel like
I'll never know, as someone who has not seen season 2.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to say where season 2 ends?
Yeah, so it ends with Nolan being captured by the Viltrumites. And
yeah, that's a lot of volumes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I can't remember his name, but He's that creature or that being that was just flying to Earth randomly. And
Alan?
Yeah. Alan gets captured and is like he is on the Viltrumite ship with Omni-Man.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of Volume 2. Or not Volume 2, sorry. Season 2.
I mean, I got to where Alan was really hurt.
I
haven't got to.
Is that Season 1? I don't remember exactly what happened there.
You're like, something happened. Alan was maybe there.
Yeah.
What an impact.
To be fair, I don't really like Alan.
So you try to actively forget when he's on screen?
Yeah. Or I'm just like, all right, it's what it is. Let's.
Oh, it's this guy again.
Yeah.
One eye. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really criticize Invincible that much. No. It did what it needed to do.
Right. Yeah. So props to you. Props to the creators then.
Yeah, somebody should shout out this series.
They don't get enough.
Underrepresented.
Well, those are some good points we all hit on. You hit on. And so, thinking about if we had to recommend these books to someone, who do we think would most enjoy these books? So, what say you about the Magic Order?
You enjoy them.
That's true.
Yeah, I think people who are big fans of spectacle and magic, it's probably kind of fun. It's definitely trying to do urban fantasy. I still don't know if anybody's ever done urban fantasy that good, in my opinion.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a difficult genre.
So would you say the Books of Magic? Is that what we read? Is that urban fantasy?
Yeah, we read the Books of Magic. We read, like, the first part of the Books of Magic.
Yeah. Is that urban magic, or is that just magic? Or urban fantasy?
I don't know if it's urban, because it doesn't take place in the city that much, at least not the sections we read. The sections we read had a lot more to do with, like, pre-established superheroes and such, right? True.
But there was some, hey, we're going to visit this character who lives in this city, San Francisco or something. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I would agree that it's not urban fantasy.
Kind of on the edge.
Yeah. Oh, fair. Who would I recommend this book to?
Yeah, what are the great points of the Magic Order you would sell someone on?
I definitely think spectacle. Like, if you like spectacle...
It's gorgeous. It's drawn by, like, one of my favorite artists. The Volume 2, at least.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, if you like kind of more... I don't know, my thought is modern take on superheroes, but I don't exactly know if that's true.
It's a pretty typical, like, movie style quick arc. Like, oh no, we're gonna think that they're gonna lose at this point, but they're not. They're not gonna lose. We know that.
Yeah. And I guess
it hits the plot points.
If you enjoy secret societies and families having drama, it would be good.
So a soap opera. Yeah. It's not a soap opera.
No.
Okay, what about Something is Killing the Children? It's definitely the small town, Twin Peaks style, like, mystery with extra magic intrigue, I guess. I don't want to call it magic intrigue. Do they even do that much magic?
I think the most magic was the backpack. Or not the backpack, the doll. Little stuffed animal.
Oh my god, I forgot about that thing entirely.
But yeah, I think outside of that, it's not, they don't really do magic.
Yeah, small town murder mystery,
Yeah.
monsters and secret society. They really want people to get in on the secret society kind of stuff.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
just gotta develop it more.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Kind of like small town, like we haven't seen this before, and they have
Well,
no
there's so
way
much
of dealing
like
with
police versus FBI, right?
it. I don't think so. I don't remember.
Well, at least the characters, like the police are trying to stop Erica. The one like FBI guy's trying to stop Erica. Like these murders are out of control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the small town. They're focusing on a lot of the small town dynamics, even the kids who are like dealing with their missing siblings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Southern Gothic almost,
Yeah.
but not quite.
I can imagine that if you were to like see this in a movie or a TV show, it'd be a lot of like various different perspectives of people within the town being like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how to cope, or my brother is missing and how are we going to fight back, kind of thing.
Man, now I just want to watch True Detective.
Maybe those are similar.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
She says no. Invincible. Who would we recommend that to?
Anybody who's ready for a deconstruction of superheroes, I guess. It's hard to not let me reading a ton more of it color how I feel about it.
Oh, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, you like superheroes, Talon.
Mm-hmm.
But do you like deconstructions of them?
I'd say of all the ones that we've read, no. I tend to find superhero deconstructions being more cynical than entertaining.
They're so crass.
Yeah.
I love it. I will say, I think Invincible is one of the like nicer deconstructions that feels grounded.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There's so much teen drama.
Yeah, that I honestly, like, as somebody who grew up on Smallville, I did not appreciate the teen drama from the first 2 volumes.
Well, don't worry. It doesn't go away.
No, that's awesome.
Probably better for a younger reader, someone who's closer to the high school age.
Yeah,
They'll relate more to Mark.
that's true. If you had a dad who was your hero, well, maybe you wouldn't want to read this one.
Not.
But you can relate to Mark in a small way.
I suppose. It's like the good version of I'm Not Starfire.
Yeah. Yep. I absolutely agree.
Hey, Department of Truth Volume 2.
If you are Jake.
If you like history
Yes.
and you like how you find it interesting how people spiral off into conspiracy theories about history and other paranormal things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you enjoy...
You want to read about Bigfoot a bunch?
Yeah. I would add, like, if you enjoy the idea of the truth being malleable and then people trying to figure out how to form the truth.
It's a critique of what is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's also a lot of like, what if?
Yeah. Exactly.
Plus secret society cult stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I will say Department of Truth, it's a more challenging comic read than most of the rest on this list.
Agreed. Yeah. There's a lot more.
Of very I mean that goes along with a theme, right? Like the visuals. are very abstract at times.
Yeah.
You're like, are they walking down the same hallway? I'll never know.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of just discontinuity, I guess. A lot of haziness and
Yeah, it can feel a lot of unreality.
yeah.
Can mess with you a little.
And I think Jake said this in the episode, but he was like, I think the art is really good for that. Because in a world where we are saying like the truth is malleable, why not see things in that kind of perspective? Like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as we come to the end of our time here, how would we rank these? So I'll start. I actually haven't thought about it, so I'm actually thinking about it right now. Obviously, the Magic Order is number 1. I think the Department of Truth is number 2. Something is Killing the Children and Invincible. Yep.
Invincible at the bottom.
Yep.
My goodness. Flip it on its back. Invincible, the Department of Truth, the Magic Order, and Something is Killing the Children. No.
Oh, hey!
Something is Killing the Children, and then the Magic Order.
Darn, I definitely was
Bottom
gonna...
of the pyramid. It's only saved by the fact that it's so gorgeous. I love that illustrator so much. Well, the comic penciler.
Fair. I was happy. I was like, hey, it's not last, but it
Otherwise, get that dumb family out of my face. Sorry, Talon. Sometimes I think the fact that you like that book makes me go, I can't let it continue on this way. It's gone unchallenged for too long.
Unchallenged? What are you talking about? Literally everyone else is like, this book sucks.
I know. Am I just hopping onto the bandwagon? Perhaps.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you can't disagree. I personally cannot disagree with the fact that Invincible was probably my best one because I continued to read it after the show.
Yeah, that is a pretty good indication.
Until I got to the titular kiss.
Oh. I'm unaware. I assume it's between Adam Eve and Invincible. Am I correct?
Perhaps.
No?
Perhaps. I don't know. There's a lot of characters.
As in you don't remember?
I'll never tell.
Oh, okay. You don't kiss and tell, I got you.
They just had to kiss and they made a full spread page. It's the worst.
It's got...
He's cheating.
Oh.
I hate it. I hate teen drama.
That sucks. At least in the TV show, they broke up first.
I don't know.
I'd say, like, I think my perspective, I don't know if Ryan Otley, I don't know how much Robert Kirkman is involved with the TV show, because I only see Ryan Otley for the credits, but I feel like they definitely were like, alright, Invincible, we made some mistakes, we're gonna fix them for this show.
Yeah, fix some pacing.
Yeah. Well, that is all for our show today. This has been our retrospective on our theme of continuations. If you like this episode, be sure to follow us on Twitter at TheComicPanel1 and listen to more of us on Spotify. We are the Comic Panel Podcast on there. You can also listen to us on KSUARadio.com or on 91.5 FM Fairbanks, Alaska. In Fairbanks, Alaska. And be sure to tune in 2 weeks from now for the start of our new theme of Western Comics Classics. I'm Taewon.
And I'm Shawinta.
And I hope you all have a good rest of your day.